when you die to yourself, you will truly live. And it's so true. We don't know what will fulfill us and make us happy. We think we do. Like, I wouldn't have said caring for a special needs child will fulfill me and make me happy. And sometimes it's not happy. My name is Molly Mary, and I'm here to tell the story of our adoption. But we have a lot bigger family than just one kid. We have 6 kids who are a lot of fun, and we're kind of crazy and loud. We homeschool some of them. Joseph and Vivian are our youngest, and both of them have special needs. Joseph, we just adopted from Uganda, and he is an Enneagram 7, I would say, because he's so funny and social. Even though he can't talk or walk, he can charm you. Vivian, you might hear in the background right now, she's making noises, and she is 5, and when she's going to be 6 soon, but when she was in my womb, they told us that she probably wouldn't survive much after she was born, and she's now 6, and we love her, and we're enjoying her.
So for both Vivian and Joseph, neither one of them are able to take food by mouth, so they both have G-tubes, which requires them to be hooked up to a pump 5 times a day for their food.
Growing up in a family with disabled kids can definitely be really hard at times. It takes a lot to get out the door, specifically because you have to pack all of their food and all of the stuff they need in different bags and stuff. But it also can be a huge blessing because God works through that in so many different ways.
If Joseph has been left alone for a while, I'll try to play with him. Sometimes I hold him and I swing him around, and he really likes that. Or I'll jump on our trampoline with him, and he loves that, especially when everyone's jumping.
I have 4 kids who tell me I love you, and they help out and they take care of themselves. And then I have 2 who will likely never say I love you. They'll likely not do much on their own to help out. And yet I'm reminded that God's love for us has to do not with just what we do for him, but who we are and who he's made us to be. And so they remind me of that every day.
So a little bit of history on Joseph. So he has lived at Home of Hope in Uganda for since he was probably around 3 months old. So basically, somebody at the home found him wrapped in a banana leaf on the ground outside of Home of Hope, and they're pretty sure he was maybe even drugged because he was really quiet, and they weren't sure, even if he was going to live.
When I first saw Joseph, I saw somebody who was looking for hope. I saw somebody who was looking for love. I saw somebody who was looking for stability and strength.
My dad was like, oh, what if we adopted a kid? And my mom was like, oh, God's been telling me that too. And I was like, no, stop this. Don't let this start. I really like life right now. We've just gotten used to Vivian.
Probably those first 2 weeks were like some of the darkest weeks that I've ever had because I was struggling with sleep. It was difficult emotionally, it was difficult physically, and just lifting him and doing all of when he first got a G-tube, we were dealing with vomit a lot. We were dealing with all kinds of bodily fluids. Even though God asks you to obey, and there's this amazing, glorious, there's the fulfillment, there's also just the everyday life that is difficult. And sometimes we've had conversations where it's like, I know that what we're doing is God's will, and I know that what we're doing is meaningful and good, but I'm tired, and this was just a bad day. We've had quite a few of those days at times. And God is faithful. It doesn't mean it's a picnic.
I'm reminded of passages like Matthew 25, where Jesus talks about the person that you helped in prison, the man that you gave clothes to. That was me. And so I do feel like in some tangible, practical way, when we meet the practical needs of kids like Vivian or like Joseph, we are loving God. We're demonstrating the love of God. And so I think that's something that I preach to myself is that when I'm tired and I feel like I'm kind of at the end, God reminds me, you're doing this to me, you're doing this for me.
God's showing us how we need him, but how his love can grow in us.
I love making the kids laugh. It's one of my favorite things.
One time we played like a burping noise and he laughed so hard. And we just thought, man, he really is like a 6-year-old on the inside.
If you want to take something away from this, take away that God will and can speak to you when you want him to, and obey him. And even if it's not what you think you want, you can trust him. You might not be called to adopt, but you are called to help the fatherless and the widows, and that might be giving money, that might be doing work overseas, that might be giving to somebody else who's going overseas. There's a million ways, and that also might be somebody right here in your area that is a single mom.
I think right now, especially, it's easy as believers to want to find a place of comfort and protection and safety. I felt like God totally knocked on my door and said, I want you to come out of that place of comfort, and I want you to come to a place where you're more dependent on me. Part of that was through this adoption. I see over and over in the Gospels where Jesus talks about the least of these, and there are the least of these on many levels, whether it be financial or relational or physical or mental, and he calls us to love them. And this is one way to love the least of these.